My name is Winston Blair, and for 42 years I operated under a fundamental misunderstanding of the universe. I believed it was a place of order, where hard work yielded success, honesty built trust, and vows formed an unbreakable bond. I was a man who built his life like he built his business. Papa Giovanni's Pizza, from a single struggling location in a Garland strip mall to 3 thriving establishments across suburban Dallas. Methodical, reliable, stable. The foundation of that life was my wife, Rachel. After my early, amicable split with Sandra, the mother of my firstborn, Sebastian, finding Rachel felt like discovering the final, crucial piece of a complex puzzle. She was vibrant, ambitious, and when the twins, Emma and Ethan, arrived, our family portrait felt complete. The picture of suburban success. I was so busy admiring the frame, I failed to notice the rot creeping in from behind the canvas. The first fissure wasn't a crack. It was a temperature drop. It began 3 months ago, during Sebastian's spring break from Texas A&M. Rachel had always maintained a polite, if somewhat distant, relationship with him. But this visit was different. A chill emanated from her that seemed to lower the temperature in any room he entered. It culminated one evening after the twins were asleep. I was in my study reviewing inventory reports for the Plano location. "Winston, we need to talk about Sebastian's college expenses," Rachel said from the doorway, her voice a carefully calibrated neutral. I looked up, rubbing my tired eyes. "What about them?" "The semester's paid for. It's handled." "That's precisely the problem." She stepped into the room, not sitting but standing like a prosecutor before the jury. "Do you have any idea what his education is costing us? That's money being siphoned away from Emma and Ethan's future. From our future." The word siphoned struck me as unnecessarily venomous. "Rachel, I've been supporting Sebastian since long before we met. His tuition is a fixed budgeted item. It's not a surprise." "Well, perhaps it's time for a new budget," she replied, her tone glacially calm. "New priorities. Your real family should come first. Real family." The words landed not like a punch, but like a surgeon's scalpel, precise and devastating. "Sebastian is my real family," I said, my voice low. "He's my son," she offered a thin, dismissive smile. "Of course he is. But priorities shift, Winston. Or at least, they should." She turned and left, but not before I saw her pull her phone from her pocket, a tiny, private smile playing on her lips as she typed a message. A smile I hadn't been the recipient of in months. The following weeks were a masterclass in passive-aggressive warfare. Rachel's absences grew more frequent and less accountable. "Shopping," she'd say, but return with no bags. "The gym," she'd claim. But when I'd casually call to see if she wanted me to pick anything up, the staff hadn't seen her. When I'd question a missing $200 from the ATM, she'd erupt in defensive fury, accusing me of controlling her, of not trusting her. The gaslighting was so skillful, I started questioning my own sanity, my own memory. The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon. Sandra called, her voice laced with concern. The bursar's office had notified her that Sebastian's tuition payment had been declined. A cold dread seeped into my veins. I logged into our joint banking portal, my fingers clumsy on the keyboard. There it was. Not one, but 3 substantial withdrawals over the past month. $5,000, $4,700, $5,300, a total of $15,000. The memo lines were blank. The money, meticulously saved for Sebastian's next semester, was gone. That night, I confronted her, the printout trembling in my hand. "Rachel, what is this?" She glanced up from her laptop where she was browsing vacation homes in Aspen. "Oh, that. I moved it to a high-yield savings account. We need to be smarter with our liquidity, Winston. Not just throw money at your son's extravagant pursuits." The casual cruelty, the calculated lie made my vision swim. "That was a designated educational fund. You had no right." "I have every right," she said, finally closing her laptop and meeting my gaze. Her eyes were flat, devoid of any warmth or remorse. "I'm protecting this family's interests. Consider it an intervention." I stood there, truly seeing the woman I had married for the first time. The vibrant, loving partner was gone, replaced by this cold, calculating stranger. The mask had slipped, and what was beneath was terrifying. A week passed in a tense, silent standoff. Then came the night everything shattered. It was 9:15 p.m. The twins were asleep, and the house was wrapped in a silence that felt heavy, oppressive. I was on the couch, A crime drama flickering unnoticed on the TV, my mind churning over supplier costs. Rachel appeared in the doorway, a vision that made my heart stutter for all the wrong reasons. She was wearing a sleek black cocktail dress I'd never seen before, her hair styled impeccably, makeup perfect. She held her car keys and her phone, her posture radiating purpose. "I'm going out," she announced, her voice breezy, rehearsed. "It's Wednesday," I said, muting the TV. "Where could you possibly be going?" She shifted her weight, a telltale sign of an impending lie. "Just meeting some friends for drinks. Lisa and the girls. I'll probably just crash at her place afterward." "Don't wait up, Lisa?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. "You haven't spoken to Lisa in a year." "Which friends, Rachel?" Her jaw tightened. The placid mask cracked for a second, revealing impatience. "Does it matter, Winston? I need some space. I'll be back tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" I stood up, the remote clattering to the floor. "What are you talking about?" She paused, and I saw it again, that calculating look as if she were running through a pre-programmed script. She took a breath and delivered the line that would detonate my world. "I'm spending the night elsewhere. With someone. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon." The air left the room. The hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the clock, everything vanished into a high-pitched ringing in my ears. "What did you just say?" "You heard me perfectly." She was already turning toward the front door. "This is how it has to be. Rachel, stop," I commanded, my voice cracking. "You can't just say something like that and walk out. We have children sleeping upstairs." She paused at the door, her hand on the knob, and looked back at me. For a fleeting second, I saw not guilt, but something worse. Pity. "There's nothing to discuss." "It's done." The door clicked shut. The sound was as final as a guillotine. I sank onto the couch, my mind a cyclone of disbelief and rage. An hour later, the numbness gave way to a cold, clear resolve. I called my brother Kevin. "Winston? It's late. Everything okay?" "No, Rachel just left. Said she's spending the night with another man." A long silence. "Jesus, I'm coming over." "No, stay with the twins." "But I need a name. The best private investigator you know." The next morning, after dropping Emma and Ethan at daycare with forced cheerfulness, I was sitting in the functional, no-nonsense office of Frank Patterson. Frank was a man who looked like he'd seen every flavor of human deceit. He listened without interruption as I laid it all out, the missing money, the lies, the chilling exit. "The goal isn't reconciliation, Frank," I finished. "It's armor. For me and my kids." Frank nodded, jotting down a final note. "Smart. Infidelity is one thing. Financial deception is another. They usually go hand in hand with even uglier secrets. Let's start with the money. It always leaves a trail." That evening, Rachel returned at 6 p.m., radiating a false, breezy normalcy. She swept in, kissed the twins, and started chopping vegetables for dinner as if she just popped out for groceries. "How was your day?" she asked, not meeting my eyes. "Informative," I said. "And yours?" "How was Lisa?" "Fine, we had brunch." The lie came so easily it was chilling. After the kids were in bed, I retreated to my home office. Fueled by a potent mix of betrayal and caffeine, I began a forensic examination of our finances. I bypassed the obvious accounts and dug into credit reports, tax documents, and old statements. Around 2 a.m., I struck gold, or rather fool's gold, tarnished and toxic, a credit card statement, electronically delivered to an email address I didn't recognize, which I accessed through a forgotten password reset linked to her old college security question. The card was in her name only, with a billing address at a UPS store P.O. box. The charges were a roadmap to a double life. Expensive dinners at restaurants I'd never heard of, boutique clothing stores, and most damningly, multiple charges from the Fairmont Hotel downtown. One was from the very night she'd claimed to be visiting her sick sister in Fort Worth. My hands shook as I photographed everything. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a cold, premeditated campaign. The next morning, I met Frank at my Garland restaurant. He arrived carrying a thin folder, his expression grim. "Your wife isn't just having an affair, Winston," he said, sliding a photograph across my desk. It showed Rachel laughing, her head thrown back, arm in arm with a tall, well-dressed man as they entered the Fairmont. "She's entangled with a professional. Devin Walsh, commercial real estate, smooth operator. Married, 2 kids. And he's got a history." "What kind of history?" "The kind that leaves financial carcasses in its wake." His ex-wife bled him dry in their divorce after she discovered he'd hidden assets. He's a financial predator who specializes in manipulating wealthy, unhappy spouses. My guess? He's been grooming Rachel, convincing her she's entitled to more, that she's a victim. He's the architect. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text from Rachel, working late. Don't wait up. I looked at Frank, a cold fury solidifying in my chest. Follow her tonight. Document everything. I want to know where they go, what they do. I want to know if they get a parking ticket. Frank's call came at 7:30 the next morning. Winston, you need to come to the office now. Bring the financial documents you found. We've hit the mother lode. An hour later, I sat across from him as he laid out a mosaic of betrayal. There were more photos, Rachel and Devin at intimate cafes, shopping for jewelry, their body language that of a established, comfortable couple. But the financial records were the true nightmare. Frank pointed to a bank statement. She didn't just open a secret credit card. She opened a joint checking account with him. 3 months ago. And look at the deposits. He traced a line with his finger. $1,500 from your joint account, labeled home goods. $3,000 from a line of credit against the house, labeled roof repair. She's not just stealing for shopping sprees, Winston. She's systematically liquidating your marital assets and funneling them into an account she controls with him. They're building a war chest, the room tilted. This was beyond betrayal. This was financial terrorism. What's their endgame? My guess? They drain what they can, then she files for divorce, claiming you're an inattentive workaholic. She gets alimony, child support, and half of what's left, not knowing she's already transferred a significant portion to an account Devin will likely empty and disappear with. She's not just ruining you. She's being set up to be his final victim. The plan was so diabolical, so cold it took my breath away. Rachel wasn't just leaving me. She was orchestrating my financial destruction for the benefit of a con man. That evening, I set the stage. I waited until the twins were asleep. I opened a bottle of wine, though I poured none for myself. I placed my phone on the coffee table, the recording app active. When Rachel came home, she seemed almost giddy, her guard down. We need to talk, I said, my voice steady. About what? She asked, pouring herself a glass. I slid the photograph from the Fairmont across the table, the color drained from her face. The glass wobbled in her hand. Winston, I can explain. Explain what? The secret bank account? The $15,000 you stole from my son? Or your partnership with a known fraudster, Devin Walsh? Her shock turned to fury. You had me followed! You sick, paranoid bastard. Paranoid? I almost laughed. I'm prudent. You're a thief and a liar. You've been stealing from your own family to fund an affair with a married man who's using you. He is not using me, she shrieked, the veneer shattering completely. He loves me, he sees me. You never did. You and your precious pizzerias and your perfect son. Devin and I are in love and we're leaving. We're taking the twins and moving to Colorado, and there's nothing you can do about it. The recording captured every venomous word. Her admission. Her plan for parental kidnapping. Her delusion. You're wrong, Rachel, I said, standing up. There's everything I can do. You've just given me everything I need to ensure you never see a dime of my money, and you will only see our children under supervised visitation. Pack a bag. You're leaving tonight. The legal battle was swift and brutal. Armed with Frank's evidence and the recording, my lawyer, Mark Thompson, went on the offensive. We filed first, securing emergency custody orders and freezing the accounts. Rachel's lawyer, seeing the mountain of evidence, the financial fraud, the proof of her plan to leave the state, folded quickly. The settlement was a rout. Rachel received 15% of our remaining marital assets after restitution was paid for the stolen funds. Custody of Emma and Ethan was granted to me, with Rachel receiving supervised visitation every other Sunday. Spousal support? She was ordered to pay me a nominal amount due to the proven financial damage she'd inflicted. The final blow to her fantasy came 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized. Devin Walsh, faced with his own legal troubles and realizing Rachel was now a financial liability instead of an asset, dropped her completely. He was later indicted for fraud and embezzlement, his house of cards collapsing without me having to lift a finger. In the year that followed, life found a new, healthier rhythm. Sebastian transferred to UT Dallas to be closer to us, and his relationship with his half-siblings blossomed. Surprisingly, a friendship rekindled with Sandra, Sebastian's mother. Our shared history and love for our son formed a foundation for something new. something real and built on mutual respect. One evening, 2 years after the divorce, I was tucking Emma and Ethan into bed in our new home, a house without the ghost of Rachel's betrayal in its walls. "Daddy," Emma asked, "tell us the story about the brave knight." "Which brave knight, sweetie?" "The one who protected the castle from the bad queen with the cold heart." I smiled, my heart full. I told them a simplified tale of truth, courage, and how a family, when built on love and honesty, could never truly be broken. It was a better story than any I could have imagined before, because sometimes the most interesting stories aren't about the betrayal that shatters you, but about the resilience that rebuilds you, stronger and more whole than before. The victory isn't in the defeat of an enemy, but in the peace you forge from the ashes.